My son went to a university. I convinced him to study biochemistry like his father. He refused. He decided to do finance. His reason was to close this wealth gap. He just want to be the CEO. He said it's better to just move to the top and mingle with them there. That's the best way for him to solve this wealth problem. I tried to convince him, no, money is not everything. You know, there are a lot of things you can do like you did. But Dad, if I ask you for money to buy iPhone, you don't have it. So why should I be doing science? And I'm saying this because I'm impressed by all the young people who are here, who are doing science. At universities, we struggle to recruit people in the STEM. We also struggle to recruit researchers because most people go into these management sciences because it takes a different kind of a hearted person to do the work that young people do. So I applaud you, young people, for being here. The world is not going to be solved by the CEOs. Actually, they are failing. So we need a different type of breed of people like you. Keep the good work. Some of us are old topies and old timers. We are sunset. So we need young people to hand the baton in. So me being here, first to thank the DSTI colleagues, Dr. Kenza, Dr. Ang, who managed to get me out of my office to be here, and many others. To also compliment the members from the Center of Competence, Prof. Nitsora from University of Venda, University of Limpopo, UKZN, UNISA. We work together collaboratively. It's good to see that we are making progress in this IKS. 3 minutes left. The first minute, I just want to do a personal reflection because sometimes conferences like this give us time to reflect, to connect. It's good to see my old friends that I haven't seen in a long time. I was involved in this space for a very, very long time. I hail from Limpopo. Yeah, my Limpopo friend. We smart people, you know, from Limpopo. Raised by my grandmother, didn't have money to go to university, but I managed to go to university, did my PhD in Penn State, did my MBA. 14 years spent in 5 different universities. I didn't have to pay a penny. I was sponsored by NRF and many other funders. So we are making progress in our sector. I'm a good example that the system is working, it's developing capacity like people sitting around the ground, and the innovation problem will be solved by people. Forget about institution and many others. As long as we are investing in developing our people, we are on the right track. The second reflection is that I worked for 30 years in 10 different organizations. I was involved in the development of the IKS policy back in 2004. I was the CEO of the BioPet back then when we started TIA, and we were investing in startups, enterprises, setting up capacity at universities. Because we are groundbreakers, we set up the foundation for young people to take over. And then when I was the CEO of BioPet, we invested in a lot of startup companies. Some made good progress, some struggled because we've got challenges in the country. And lastly, I was the bio-executive director at CSIR, where we have the IKS platform, which also made great progress. And I don't know the baton we handed to what people did after we left, but yeah, it's sometimes not a good story. But what I'm saying is we've been in this space for too long. We've set the foundation. There's a solid base for us to take these investments to the next stage. In my remaining 2 minutes, I'd like to reaffirm the commitment of Northwest University. For most of you may not know, Northwest University has been in the IKS since 2000. We were the first university to have a SAQA accredited training program in IKS in 2002. And we continued developing young people. 3 weeks ago, I presided on graduation where we graduated 30 young people in IKS space, both bachelor's and master's degrees. So I'm very pleased to see that we are making ground, and we are recommitting to invest in IKS agriculture. We've got a farm called Molelwane Farm, which is 280 hectares. We are making phenomenal investments in growing that farm. Lastly, we are strengthening our Northwest University enterprise, which will be the commercial arm. So all the opportunities that have been explained here need institutions to collaborate, to partner together. Bar di tau tša hloka seboka, a ge Mapedi a ešo. Di šitwa ke nare e hlotša. I believe we can make great progress if we learn to work together as a people. We don't know how to work together. We work in silos. We do small research projects that don't make impact. It's about time that during this conference we discuss, find good projects to collaborate. If investors come, they must find us working in clusters so that we can make groundbreaking innovation at a global scale. We are together, and thank you very much.
Okay, this one doesn't come with a 500 Rand prize, eh? Samke? It comes with 5 million. You've got the e-wallet ready, huh? Okay. Are you really going to give us 5 minutes?
You're on 5.5.
No. No, start counting. Thank you very much. On behalf of Jeffrey Mabelebele, Dr. Jeffrey Mabelebele, the Vice Chancellor and his management, I greet you all. Let me take you to 1994. A company named Forever Young goes to court in the United States and says the name Rooibos was sold to a US citizen, a lady called Virginia Burke Watkins. This lady then issues a cease and desist letter to tea cafes and online distributors all over, saying they must pay her $5,000 in compensation or stop using the word Rooibos unless they bought it exclusively from her. A Yankee owns Rooibos. The pushback was, of course, the South African farmer said, wait a minute, this is Rooibos is Aspalathus linearis, and it grows natively in the Western Cape. And therefore, the South African exporter of Rooibos Limited, alongside US entities like the American Herbal Products Association and the Republic of Tea, launched a multi-million rand legal challenge to invalidate the trademark. The resolution was that in 2005, a US district court in Missouri ruled that the word Rooibos was entirely generic and a public domain descriptor of a plant type. Therefore, Burke, the Yankee, surrendered the trademark globally, opening the door for South African farmers and others to protect their, PGI, protected geographical indication in the European Union. Think about that. The second one, because we don't have time, 2005, an Ethiopian Intellectual Property Office files application with the US Patent and Trademark Office to trademark the names of 3 of its famous specialty coffee regions, Sidamo, Harar, and Yirgacheffe. The goal was to secure a royalty-free licensing model, giving poor farmers leverage to command higher retail prices. Starbucks pushes back and says, no, these are regional names, they are generic descriptors. The resolution was that because of the backlash that came and aggressive campaigns led by people like the Oxfam America, Starbucks suffered a huge brand damage, and in 2007 it capitulated and signed a formal licensing agreement recognizing Ethiopia's ownership of coffee designations. The last example, 1939, a Zulu migrant worker called Solomon Linda wrote and recorded a song called Mbube in Johannesburg. He famously sold the rights to Gallo Record Company for 10 shillings, which is about what, $1.70. The song was later adapted by Western musicians into a Whim Away and eventually became the global hit, The Lion Sleeps Tonight, generating an estimated $15 million in royalties. In 1962, Linda died a poor man with 100 rand or less in his bank account. I can go on and on with these examples. The question I'm asking is in response to Prof's presentation, and the purpose of this is, Can you explain to your mother, if your mother never went beyond grade 2 at school, what you do for a living? Or put it more simply, can you go to a village funeral and help the villagers protect what's theirs? In Limpopo, we have all kinds of merogo, terepe, telele, lerotu. Can you, with the knowledge you have and the qualifications, protect those? Can you protect the traditional leaders who can't go to court to protect what is theirs? Like the Portuguese are protecting port, like the French protected champagne? Or are you going to leave every one of them to have to fight in a court in Missouri, spending millions of dollars? In closing, let me just say this. Indigenous knowledge doesn't mean anything until and unless we as Africans, as South Africans, agree on what it is. I challenge universities like mine, in areas where you are, start by just documenting the heritage of your immediate surrounding. You'll be shocked at how much wealth there is. And once you've documented, you can unite the traditional leaders, the owners, the real owners of this indigenous knowledge, and then organize them for power. Because unity means nothing unless we are organized for power. Organizing means, Prof. Ntswera, building it into the programs that we are offering, the master's programs, the honors programs, the PhDs. Let's have people in Limpopo working on the real indigenous world, the same Northwest, the same KZN. Because unless we do that, we will continue to defend our rights to use words like rooibos against Americans like Virginia Burke Watkins. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Let me start here and thank Professor Maharaj for that moving speech. A lot of facts indeed that you poured here for everybody to digest. When I was young, and I mean very young, my grandmother treated a lot of ailments, from a running tummy to headaches. And there was one particular where, I don't know the English name for this one, where your pupil, your eye pupil turns white. I do not know if you are familiar with that disease. I don't see it often these days. And she knew how to treat this. But I can say majority of villagers knew how to treat minor ailments. Not only minor, by the way. They knew how to treat ailments. And that knowledge is all eradicated. It has vanished. Professor Maharaj's speech is indeed pitched at the macro of the macro international. And you did a fantastic job telling us about investment at that particular level, or disinvestment. I would like us to talk a little bit about investment at the macro South African level, especially in ICAS, because there is a lot that we have already lost. The collection of indigenous seeds and the introduction of the GMOs, I see no single granary as I move across the breadth and width of our villages. We do not have seeds anymore. They are gone. We've got to go to the shops to buy seeds. When I was young, every family had a granary, and they would make sure after every harvest there is something left behind for next season. There were traditional breweries at small scale, miniature breweries producing even spirits. In our village, Professor Mashau will remember, we had production of what we called Tototo. These are local spirits, no influence from outsiders, no European influences. But that has vanished. In actual fact, the apartheid government unleashed mercenaries to chase those individuals away and to lock those who were producing those competitive spirits. Today, those spirits would be competing in New York, in Canada, everywhere else. But that has ceased to exist. I've spoken about medicines, I've spoken about traditional breweries, and I've spoken about GMO, the production of our food, which I think is very important. So I say to the Department of Science and Technology that our journey ahead is long, and it has been winding over the years, and we move in circles, mostly talking rhetoric about what should be done, could be done, should have been done. And I say it is important that we talk substance about putting funds on the table to invest in indigenous small business development, so that those startups that are investing in indigenous knowledge are funded to the hilt, better than any other, because this knowledge doesn't exist in the US, in Turkey, or anywhere else, except here in South Africa. Univen, in my conclusion, Univen has got a bachelor in IKS. So we produce master and doctoral students in IKS. There are numerous IKS projects currently ongoing, and we've been trying to organize ourselves of late so that we can account for each and every project that is taking place there at the University of Venda. But importantly, we want to make sure that we support these projects. I would be extremely excited. We are about to acquire almost 200 hectares of land from a traditional leader. I will be extremely excited to see everything indigenous in that particular farm, so that the traditional herbs, the traditional medicine, the traditional trees that we rely on for our medicines are planted in mass in that particular farm. The indigenous goats, the indigenous farming generally should happen in that particular farm, so that next time when you come from China and everywhere else and you want to partner in anything indigeneity, you should be thinking the University of Venda. And this is our promise. Thank you.
Program Director, thank you very much. I actually thought I will dance for this song instead of responding, because the song itself is indigenous and it talks to us. Prof. Maharaj, let me just confirm one thing as a CEO. My income has not increased by 54%. In fact, it has declined. But thank you very much for such a informative discussion. We welcome the initiatives coming from the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology. Colleagues, as CEOs, we like to think we are at the cutting edge of innovation, where we're speaking artificial intelligence, digital transformation, disruptions. These are very big words. But being here today is very humbling. Standing here in front of distinguished guests, students, executives and leaders that are driving
our origin. I've realized something important today. What we call innovation in the boardroom as executives is often just indigenous knowledge that has been perfected in centuries. Only now we have added what we call Wi-Fi and internet. In fact, if we had listened sooner as leaders of organizations, we might have saved a lot of time and perhaps even reduced the number of meetings where we pretend to understand our own strategies and our own beings in the absence of indigenous knowledge. My team have prepared a long speech. Actually, I wanted to challenge Prof. Maharaj to double the time he took, but understanding the effects of today, for me as the CEO of the Innovation Hub, it is an honor and a privilege to have partnered with the universities, with the owners of knowledge of our well-being and our origin. For centuries, indigenous knowledge holders have developed solutions to challenges related to health, agriculture, environmental sustainability, food security, most importantly, community development. Yet, many of these innovations have remained undocumented. Not supported enough to realize an impact. As the Innovation Hub, we work to ensure that young people, innovators, and indigenous knowledge holders in our communities are empowered to transform the knowledge into sustainable enterprises. You have had colleagues responding and saying, how do we sustain ourselves? How do we commercialize? How do we ensure that we don't only innovate, but we must also empower communities? And we must commercialize and we must document and protect our intellectual properties. As the Innovation Hub, responding to the department and partners gathered here today, we value this partnership immensely. And we remain committed to ensuring that every investment made translate into measurable impact. Measurable, it means you don't invent and die or leave this world with 100 rand in your pocket, but generational wealth as far as knowledge is concerned. Through these partnerships, we believe that we can do more. I've heard a lot of speakers saying in Limpopo and KZN, ekoloni kodwa thina sithi ke isandla sihlandla esinye isandla, letsogo le tlhatswa le lengwe Anerhand was Anerhand. We encourage the students here today. I'm left with 5 minutes. More universities, research institutions, and academic partners across South Africa and continent to join this movement. As this is an inaugural one, let's join partners with other universities and other African countries. In closing, Program Director, the future we seek to build must be one where indigenous knowledge systems are protected, celebrated, commercialized responsibly, and that is very important. And they are polished as a catalyst for economic growth and development. The Innovation Hub remains committed to working alongside government, academia, industry, communities, and indigenous knowledge holders to make this vision a reality. We remain committed. Together we can transform knowledge into opportunity, innovation into impact, and ideas into prosperity. Thank you.
The National Science and Technology Forum is honored to be one of the host partners for such a crucial and timely summit. As the NSTF, we view the Investment Summit on Indigenous Knowledge-Based Technology Innovation as one of the platforms as aligned with our mission of promoting SET and innovation, representing as close to 100% as possible of the national system of innovation stakeholders, networking stakeholders around SET-related issues, and encouraging collaboration among stakeholders. We are grateful to the Department of Science, Technology, and Innovation for all the support in driving the NSTF vision of a transformed country where SET and innovation contributes to an optimal quality of life for all, where STEM and innovation education and training are effective, and SET professionals are representative of the population. Program Director, the DSTI support enables us to execute our mandate of providing information, promoting SET and innovation, hosting platforms for networking and debate on current SET issues, and engaging with government on SET-related policies. These are driven through different platforms and programs, including the NSTF Awards, discussion forums, Brilliance and Share and Dare programs, and the Stimulator, which is a unique virtual platform aimed at sparking curiosity and interest in the STEM world and careers in young minds. STEM, for those who may not be aware, stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Ladies and gentlemen, while McKinsey will say, successful innovation delivers net new growth that is substantial, I would add, IP-based technology innovation and integration are key to sustainable socio-economic solutions in South Africa. One appreciates that the IP-based Technology Innovation Summit is scheduled at the right time, as the NSTF is at a strategic transition period, bridging the current strategy cycle of 2022 to 2027 and the subsequent 2028 to 2032 cycle. This is a period of reflection for the NSTF to improve on its relevance and support to programs and initiatives of national importance and to become visible to the nation. Overall, we intend to improve the reach, relevance, visibility, and impact of the NSTF in South Africa. The ultimate goal here is to build on these initiatives and the development of new strategy that will propel the NSTF to be an engaged, relevant, and impactful organization. The strategy will enable the organization to partner with government, industry, academia, professional societies, and civil society to contribute to the strengthening and advancement of said sector in South Africa and propel the implementation of science, engineering, technology, and innovation solutions for socio-economic growth of the nation. As a not-for-profit organization, we depend more on NSTF members and stakeholders, and our programs are collaborative in nature. Thus, implementation of IK-based technology innovation will be incorporated in our 6 membership sectors, namely business, civil society, and labor, higher education, professional bodies, and learned societies, which is known as PROSET, in full, professionals in science, engineering, and technology, science councils, and statutory bodies, and state-owned enterprises. These initiatives are well known and appreciated. However, the need to strengthen the innovation awareness, reach, and impact for communities in predominantly rural communities is still evident. Mudemba and others in 2020 confirmed that indigenous knowledge-based technologies and skills have been central to rural livelihoods for ages. So congratulations to the DSTI and fellow hosting partners for this rallying call that, although delayed in many aspects, would have satisfied former President Kwame Nkrumah, who at the Organization of African Unity, OAU Summit in 1963 opined that we have been too busy nursing our separate states to understand fully the basic need of our union, rooted in common purpose, common planning, and common endeavor. A union that ignores these fundamental necessities will be but a shame. It is only by uniting our productive capacity and the resultant production that we can amass capital. It is within the possibility of science and technology to make even the Sahara bloom into a vast field with verdant vegetation for agricultural and industrial developments. Ladies and gentlemen, may this symposium be the much-needed platform for fruitful partnerships to ensure innovation and integration in the IK-based technology and related sectors, and may this lead to significant investments. Ke a leboga. I thank you.